Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment offered by Mr. Flores of Texas. At the end of the bill, before the short title, add the following new section. None of the funds made available by this act may be used to enforce Section 526 of the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007, Public Law 110-140, 42 U.S.C. 17142.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Flores, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I rise to offer an amendment which addresses another misguided and restrictive federal regulation. Section 526 of the Energy Independence and Security Act prevents federal agencies from entering into contracts for the procurement of fuels unless their life cycle greenhouse gas emissions are less than or equal to emissions from an equivalent conventional fuel produced from conventional petroleum sources. The initial purpose of Section 526 was to stop the Defense Department's plans to buy and develop coal-based or coal-to-liquid jet fuel. This restriction was based on the opinion of some environmentalists that coal-based jet fuel might produce more greenhouse gas emissions than traditional petroleum-derived fuels. My amendment is a simple fix, and that fix is to not restrict our fuel choices based on extreme environmental views, bad policies, and misguided regulations like those in Section 526. Placing limits on federal agencies' choices is an unacceptable precedent to set in regard to America's policy, petroleum independence, and our national security. Mr. Chair, Section 526 restrictions make our nation more dependent on unstable Middle Eastern oil. Stopping the impact of Section 526 will help us promote American energy, improve the American economy, and create American jobs. In addition, and probably most importantly, we must ensure that our military has adequate fuel resources and that it can rely on domestic and more stable sources of fuel. With increasing competition for energy and fuel resources, and with the continued volatility and instability in the Middle East, it is now more important than ever for our country to become more energy independent and to further develop and produce all of our domestic energy resources. In some circles, there is a misconception that my amendment somehow prevents the federal government and our military from being able to produce and use alternative fuels. Mr. Chair, this viewpoint is categorically false. All my amendment does is to allow federal purchasers, particularly our military, to be able to acquire the fuels that best and most efficiently meet their needs. I offered a similar amendment to the CJS Appropriations Bill for FY 2013, and it passed with strong bipartisan support. My identical amendments to 4 other FY 2013 appropriations bills also each passed by voice vote. My friend, Mr. Conaway, also had language added to the Defense Authorization Bill to exempt the Defense Department from this burdensome regulation. Let's remember the following problems with Section 526. 1, it increases our reliance on unstable Middle Eastern oil. 2, it hurts our military readiness, our national security, and our energy security. 3, it prevents the increased use of some sources of safe, clean, and efficient American oil and gas. 4, it hurts American jobs and the American economy. 5, last and certainly not least, it costs our taxpayers more of their hard-earned dollars. My amendment fixes those problems, and I urge my colleagues to support the passage of this common sense amendment. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields.